Hey friends, how are you tonight? My name is Dr. Heather. I'm coming to you live from Ask Dr. Heather, live from Overland Park, Kansas. I am the co-owner of Cardin Center for Wellness. I'm also an independent promoter for the company Prove It. Coming to you live to help answer the top 10 questions and sharing the top 10 videos of 2019. So as you're joining me, let me know who you are and where you're coming from, maybe how many kids or how many dogs you have. I'm the mother of 4 boys and we have adopted a German Shepherd this year. Her name is Dany or Daenerys, which is the queen of Mother of Dragons from the Game of Thrones. My son's actually named her. She's darling. She was a year old in July, so she is still a puppy and a super fun puppy. So again, let me know where you're watching from. Hey, Lori, I'm going to get you a message back here in just a little bit. I had some answers for you. So I've had a lot of questions. I was going to talk about estrogen and aromatase and the keto diet because the last 3 years, the word keto has actually blown up. I actually turned the TV on yesterday and I saw the keto in the 5 commercials straight in a row. 5. Hey, Justin, thanks for joining us. 5 commercials had the word keto in it. I'm like, oh, and I saw some patients today and I saw, oh my gosh, they're having keto jelly and keto cookies and keto this and keto that, and they're having no vegetables. They're having packaged stuff. I'm like, this is not how the diet was designed. The diet was designed over 100 years ago, the ketogenic diet, to help children who were non-responsive to medications, who were suffering from childhood epilepsy. And that diet consisted of lots of fish that were high in omega oils. So sardines and cod and halibut and salmon, and then vegetables that were high in leafy greens, high in folates, and high in B vitamins. It wasn't prepackaged cookie foods and shakes that were made of, casein and soybean milk and things like that. So mindfully, I always tell people it's not about clean or dirty. It's really about eating whole foods. And that's always kind of what I've been about, is eating whole foods, whether it's zone, whether it's paleo, whether it's low carb, whether it's keto, it's eating whole foods. So the next question we get is, was it cure this? Does it cure that? So again, it was designed to help treat. So it's used as a tool. In our clinic over 20 years, we've used a low-carb ketogenic diet as a tool to help facilitate the body's ability to heal itself. And that's what really a physician does, or anybody does. They look for the interference of the body and what's stopping the body from healing itself. So if you're giving your body prepackaged food and you're not feeding it green leafy vegetables, what the body needs to get trace minerals and vitamins from, because we need those to actually run each and every cell in our body. We need proteins. There's 21 essential means necessary for survival of our body. We have essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. Our body needs those to make the building blocks of our body. There's no essential carbohydrates. So people say, will it cure this? Will it cure that? So my story is, and you can find a book, and I would love for someone, I'm probably going to get some banter, so I'm talking a little bit fast because I'm nervous of what I'm going to get back, but it does not cure. But what happens is when you stop eating processed carbohydrates, you stop eating unhealthy carbohydrates, because vegetables definitely have carbohydrates, nuts and seeds have carbohydrates. The body can handle and does need a certain amount of carbohydrates. It does not need an abundance of carbohydrates. It doesn't need a excess of carbohydrates. We know an excess of carbohydrates, again, there's no essential carbohydrates for the body. We get diseases of lifestyle. We get things like, we get cholesterol, we get high cholesterol, we get fatty alcohol disease, we get things, we get growth spots on our body. I'm trying to save some words of choice here. We look at heart disease, we look at diabetes, we look at Alzheimer's, we look, at allergies, we look at any itis thing going on that is affecting the body, or the diseases of lifestyle. Will the ketogenic body cure that? The answer is the diet doesn't cure anything. When you start going back to actually helping the body eat healthier, helping the body facilitate the body's own healing possibilities, because we know when you give the body what it needs, it's its own pharmacy. The body is anemic. You give the body a bunch of spinach and you give it maybe some prime rib, those things that it needs, or some dandelion root, some buggleweed, those things that are high in B12 and folate. The body can actually make iron to heal itself, right? It can make its own iron. The body can make its own calcium from the right nutrients. That's how the body catches up. So it doesn't cure itself, but the body can make its own self what it needs. The same thing if you break a bone, your body has the necessary elements, then it can actually heal that broken bone. So when we use that word cure or treat, it gets kind of tricky, because I would think the leading thought leaders that I've been going to low carb events, 2012, before it was even super popular. There was only one held and there were 85 people in the room, and it was original people from the diet doctors were there, and there were 85 of us there. I came over from Sweden and from Europe, from all over the world were there. There's 85 of us, and it was all about what does the ketogenic diet do for the brain? Why are we seeing it stop childhood epilepsy? And again, it wasn't about curing or treating things. So again, I'd love to have your questions here. This is kind of an open Q&A, because I could have said, hey, the ketogenic diet does not cure anything. It doesn't treat anything, but the amazing benefits from it are. So I'd love to answer it that way. But however, if you start doing the ketogenic diet because you're calculating the macros and you're eating things of processed nature, whether it be a processed bar for breakfast, and then you have a processed keto shake for lunch that has 25 things that you can't even read, and then you have a processed electrolyte, because somebody said that, and the first thing was maltodextrin in it, and then it's something else had like red dye number 40 in it, but it said keto on it, so it's got to be good for you. That actually can be almost more unhealthy than just eating a standard zone diet, a 40-30-30 diet that is all natural foods that are grown from the earth. Maybe having a fruit or two in there could actually be healthier because it's all natural food, or a low carb diet that's all whole healthy food than things that are processed, that have artificial food colorings in it, that have non-GMO food or GMO foods in there, that have food coloring and pesticides and all that other kind of stuff. So I always want people to be super mindful when we say, what are we doing to cure? We're not, what are we doing? You want to actually do things preventative wise. So like, just like you brush your teeth every day to prevent cavities, what you want to do is you want to prevent disease processes in your body by eating whole, real healthy foods in the right combination and in the right ratios. And so what that means, right ratios, well, that's where the low carb, high fat ketogenic diet come into process. We know that our body needs healthy fats to run on. We know it's a better fuel source, and that's where you pick, I choose my fuel source to be ketones, or I choose my fuel source to be glucose. That's a preference that you need to personally make. And if you find yourself like, oh, I can be keto 4 days a week, and then I'm going to cycle back and be high carbohydrate for 48 hours. I'm going to cycle back and be high keto. And then what we've seen in a lot of studies, when you do cyclic ketogenic diet and targeted ketogenic diet, that it actually confuses the body, especially someone who's over the age of 25 or over the age of 35. I'm going to go 35 or higher. You actually find that kind of like when the body gets confused or exercising, not exercising, if you're doing that just back and forth, that takes 2 or 3 days for the body to get back into ketosis to burn that glucose and glycogen, that's actually causes more toxicity in the body and more confusion. And then you get that plaquing buildup, because say that you have, I'm going to do a 5-2, so 5 days of a ketogenic diet, 2 days of a high carb diet. Well, then if you're doing that Saturday, Sunday, and then it takes you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get back in ketosis, then you're, eating a ketogenic diet, you get 2 days of being in ketosis, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday is your keto, or your high carb day, then you're back taking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to be back in ketosis to get there. It's really confusing on the body, because the body can't remember which fuel it's getting there, and studies show that's what causes some plaquing. That actually can cause some inflammation markers to actually rise, because the body does get confused. However, with that being said, I live in Kansas. We have 4 seasons. My uncle was a blueberry farmer. He's not right now, he's retired, but we only have blueberries 3 weeks of the year. So that would make sense that we would eat blueberries 3 weeks of the year. His blueberry patch turned into a pumpkin patch in the wintertime in October. So October we would have squash for just a few weeks. So that makes sense. And then we'd take the seeds, we'd roast them. Then we would have seeds and nuts. We have black walnut trees in our backyard. So now we would have deer and quail and pumpkin seeds and walnuts. So that would make sense. That's what you would eat. Or you would have winter wheat, maybe, if you're in Kansas. We don't have any corn right now. That would make sense that you can eat that way seasonally. Now I'm off target about curing and treating, but that's how people say, well, can I do it every other day? My answer would be, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Pick one horse and ride it. However, seasonally, and being an acupuncturist, we also see that you can do that seasonally in the acupuncture world. Just as things prune and die off and shed and shred, or things die off like your grass does, and then it comes back. We see the seasons here in Kansas or the Midwest. Your body can do that as well. So you can pick doing something. If you want to do a low carb diet for one season, and next season do a ketogenic diet, like in the wintertime, we don't have any fruits that are abundant. We have very little greens that are abundant. So it's really more of a carnivore or a fat diet right now. Not hardly any carbs available, just because there's not many veggies growing around right now. And then you look about what's in season. Maybe you live in California and you've got more fruits in season than we have now. So that would be a case where if you're native to that part of the region, you've grown up there, that's your part of the region, that would make sense that you might rotate through that season of the year. However, if you live in that season and there is no climate change, whether it's Scandinavia or whether it's somewhere else in Europe, then that would make more sense genetically that maybe you should be in that state, like a low carb, high fat condition the whole entire year. Maybe being off that for 3 or 4 weeks. Just like an athletic person, like an NFL football player, they train hard most of the year, but off season, they do have an off season, let their body build and regenerate. That's the same thing, is that you let your body rest and recover. That works best for someone who's using a ketogenic diet, a low carb, high fat diet, to actually let their body rest and regenerate and recuperate rather than having it alternate. But when it comes to curing and treating, I hope that makes sense to a lot of you, that it doesn't cure anything. It doesn't treat anything. It's used as an amazing tool to help facilitate your body to whatever the underlying condition may be. We know that ketones take away hunger. We know that sugar is the most addictive substance out there. So if you have sugar and sugar's hijacking your brain, and one donut turns into 10, or one soda turns into 64 ounces, or one peanut butter and jelly turns into peanut butter and jelly every single day, or one slice of pizza turns into the whole pizza, you guys get the idea now, and you just can't stop because it's Groundhog Day, then that becomes a problem, and that can become a big gut issue problem. We know there's more nerves in our gut than our spinal cord. So if you are suffering from anxiety or insomnia or depression, or you're having mood elevation, or you're having weight issues, then we know we have to stop that cycle of the sugar hijacking the brain. That's where it comes into doing some modified fasting, some OMED, and say, I've got to cut the carbs out. There's no essential carbohydrates. You can have probably 6 to 7 cups of greens and still be under 25 grams of carbohydrates, which is a lot of vegetables. It's hard to chew that many, let me tell you. 27 cups of veggies are very easy to do and be under 25 grams of carbs. Then have all the healthy proteins and the healthy plant fats, not doing, again, the processed fats like all the bacon. I'm not against bacon at all. I'm a farm girl here from Kansas, and I know listening Eric on here, I know he was once a pig farmer from Kansas as well, so thanks for joining. But it's true that my dad did that, and we didn't use much nitrates to actually process that, but you can get clean bacon. And I love bacon, taking a piece of bacon and wrap it around a wedge of cabbage and putting it in the oven. Love to do that. But again, it's about rotating your foods even throughout the week, throughout the day. So that's my big story. That question is, does it cure this? Does it cure that? My uncle, my aunt has this. Can it cure it? Can it cure it? I probably get that question 20 to 25 times a week in my inbox. So if I haven't answered you, I'm sorry, but it does not cure any disease. And people have these amazing stories, because once you eliminate the processed foods, once you eliminate what's interfering with the body's natural healing ability, the body does have the natural healing ability. Again, you can do a lung transplant, you can do a liver, you can chop off part of your liver, it'll grow back, you can transplant, you can cut off part of your brain still works, you can break your leg and it comes back and heals. So many things the body can do when it has the resources to do it. So I hope I've made that pretty clear, and I know that I've looped back around 3 or 4 times, but I'm going to look at a couple questions here. So Lori says, find discussing about high fat not good if you're having fats on your body confusing. So Lori, that's a great question. So people do find that, like, if I eat high fats, at what point does my body start tapping into its own fat? So that's where you need to work with a healthcare provider, because there's a lot of calculators out there. I know a lot of apps that are calculating how many fat grams you have. So in my clinic, it is kind of a little bit of guessing error, because nobody uses the exact same energy expenditure every single day. Like if you run to the store, or you run up and down the stairs a few more times a day and do a few more laundry, you mow the grass the next day, or shovel snow tomorrow. If it shovels snow, your energy expenditure is different, but you don't want to calculate the fat exactly. You want to be a little bit under, so your body actually taps into your normal fat. You want to create that metabolic confusion. So if the app says I need 120 grams of fat, maybe only eat 100 grams of fat, and make sure that you're rotating the fat and it's coming from some plant fats. Like I'll use avocado oil over avocado because it's less calories. The same thing is I'll use turkey sometimes over bison because it's less calories. I'm still getting the right grams of protein. So some of that rotation will come into play a little bit, Lori. And then you want to do some intermittent exercising where you're going to tap into that stored fat. Age has a little bit to do with it. Hormones have a little bit to do with it. And women especially, or men with low T, you want to make sure you're optimizing that and finding what works best for you. But as women, as it comes along into that, and I'm taking your woman because your name is Lori, that you want to create some metabolic confusion. And I do a 1-day, 24-hour fast a week just to help reset that metabolic confusion and really clean everything out. Because if I'm not eating that 24 hours and I do a lunch to lunch or a brunch to brunch, then my body can really focus on sweeping and cleaning out that excess fat my body doesn't want. And I never eat up to my macro fat. I always eat just a smidgen under, maybe 10% under, so that 10% my body has got needs, it will tap into that stored fat that I have. So eat a little bit under, and then again, I don't eat things like pepperonis, and I don't eat any cheeses. I ditch the dairy except for butter and ghee, and then I try to do things like sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, things that are higher in zinc, and I leave the peanuts and the walnuts and those things alone. I do more chia and flax, and ghee and butter and coconut oil, olive oil, some of those things that are lower in calories, but they still have all the health benefits from it. So that's a great question. It's a whole nother topic we should do. Right, Justin, go back to the basics weekly. So I do a 24-hour fast a week, and then I do a 1 monthly fast of about 60 to 72 hours, just because at first 24 hours, and I've got a YouTube video on this, so I'm going to stop there. You can jump over to Ask Dr. Heather, look under playlists, under fasting, intermittent fasting. I've got a great video on that. I think that probably answers that pretty well for you, Justin. So we have somebody asking about fat tissues. I'm going to do that, I think, tomorrow. We have 4 different types of fat. So I'm going to save that for tomorrow. So I'm going to thank you guys for joining me here today. And if you know somebody who wants this information, needs this information, absolutely share, actually put that button over, share them, add them to this page. This is a totally free page, my blog, AskDrHeather.com. I have a guide. You simply just subscribe to it. You can download an 8-page guide to start your day in the right way. Somebody did tell me that it was not giving them the 8-page guide. So if you know you've subscribed and you haven't gotten an 8-page guide that gives you an autoimmune, ketogenic, low-carb, paleo list of foods, and then it gives you 4 or 5 of my top favorite recipes. Some of them are vegan, but all of them are dairy-free and gluten-free. If you haven't gotten that and you subscribe, shoot me an email and I will send that to you, or drop your email down below and I'll get that sent over you. I don't know what's happening with my WordPress, but would love to send that to you if you don't have it. And then you guys have given me some great ideas for topics. So I'm going to discuss the different types of fat. That's a great topic. And then I'm going to discuss calculating macros. That is really confusing for a lot of people. But today I think the take home is that your body is the only thing that can cure itself, but it has to be in the right situation. It has to be in the right condition. It has to have the right nutrients, and you've got to have everything balanced out. We talk about a 3-legged stool all the time. The mental emotional component has to be balanced out, the physical component has to be balanced out, and the chemical component has to be balanced out. So something is inhibiting the body if it's not healing in the proper fashion. Healing always takes time. There's a certain amount of time it takes for a bone to heal, certain amount of time it takes for your white blood cells to turn over, certain amount of time it takes for your skin to heal after it's been cut open, things like that. There's just a certain amount of time. So thank you guys again for joining me. Please tag your friend if you've got a question there. I will let you know we have stopped enrollment for our 10-day keto kickstart. We kick off tomorrow. We are full for the enrollment. Our next one will start on the 23rd, I think. So if you want to join us then, let me know, send me an email, because we are excited. We've got some new twists and turns in our 10-day keto kickstart challenge that we are super excited about. We do give you meals and menus. We have daily accountabilities. We have daily hacks that will make your lifestyle super easy. So our daily hacks just line them right up for you in a very, very easy platform. So it really sticks with you. It's not something you just jump on board for 10 days and you jump off, but they're things that will stick with you each and every day. We've had over 2,000 people go through it over the last couple years, done it as a beta test, and we know it's proven over time. We've got amazing results from it, and they're lasting results. We've had people like, oh, can I do it again? Can I do it again? Can I do it again? So those aren't their voices, but that's kind of what it sounds like. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. See you guys later. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And Lori, I'll be getting back with you super, super soon. So in good health and happiness, this is Dr. Heather saying have an amazing evening, and I'll be seeing you soon.